writing is about the creative trigger, right? And the creative trigger is literally pattern recognition, right? When not only does dopamine help us detect more patterns, but there's a feedback loop. Whenever we detect a pattern, we get a little rush of dopamine. So you've done a crossword puzzle, right? You get a correct answer, that little rush of pleasure you're getting, that's dopamine. Why do you get like 3 or 4 correct answers in a row? Because that's dopamine amplifying your pattern recognition system, right? So there is some of that in writing. That same thing is present. You're detecting patterns in the language, and you're mixing and you're matching, and ideas are coming together. And as soon as they're linking up, right? But we know across the boards it doesn't matter. And this research actually was done in software coding. Very, very, very high flow. There's kind of books written about the importance flow plays in coding. When people get kicked out of flow, it takes about 15 minutes to get back in. I personally, like for me with writing, I don't know what you do, but I shut off my phone. There's no email. Everything's turned off. And I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start writing, and I work from like 4 to 8 every day on my own stuff. And, because there's no distraction, and I can't, I find that I can't do anything else. The minute I start kind of checking my email, it's going to pull me right out.
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
It's going to engage. The worst thing that can happen is emotions get involved, right? Like if I happen to notice an email where I forgot a deadline and something, I'm just stressed out, or there's something emotional in an email, whatever. It doesn't take much, but a little bit of emotion, suddenly the prefrontal cortex is engaged because, I've got a fear response and blah, blah, blah. And then you're screwed.
So it's interesting though, because some responses that involve emotions like that anxiety, that fear, trigger the flow state, but then some emotional responses are the absolute detriment to the flow state.
So it's interesting because flow, it's defined technically, right? Optimal state of consciousness where we feel our best, but that is a total misnomer, because flow is actually totally, completely emotionally neutral. There are no emotions in flow.
Yeah, because it's fully in the
right, because emotions modify behavior. And in flow, every decision, every action leads seamlessly, fluidly, perfectly to the next, right? Near perfect decision making, nothing to modify, no need for emotion. The emotion that comes on when we start to notice it, that's usually a sign that serotonin has showed up, which shows up towards the tail end of a flow state. And it lasts. It's that long afterglow. And you'll get, there's still a lot of neurochemistry running around in your brain, but you start to actually notice how good it feels as the flow state is going away.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.